Storytime about how this girl pretended to be my best friend just to go on vacation with me. So a little background information, I was 14 and a freshman in high school, and we're to call this girl Sophia. So Sophia and I met whenever we were in 6th grade, and we were inseparable. And shortly after her and I had became best friends, my mom thought that it would be nice for us to go on vacation to Hawaii in 2 years. She also said that my brother and I would be able to bring one friend each. So I asked Sophia if she wanted to come to Hawaii in 2 years, and of course she said yes. Keep in mind, I was popular, Sophia was kinda lame, and I'm not even saying that just to be mean, but it's true. So over the next 2 years, her and I are hanging out every day, sneaking out together because we also live like 2 minutes away from each other. And my brother decided that he was gonna bring his friend Noah, and I had a crush on Noah, and Sophia knew this, but she would always flirt with him in front of me. I really should have saw this as a red flag, but you know, we love to ignore those. And then out of nowhere, Sophia starts dressing like me and starts getting more popular in school. So like they said, she had been flirting with this guy that she knew that I liked, and then she starts dressing like me and getting more popular, which I hadn't really cared because I was still her best friend. Maybe because she didn't really have any other friends. So fast forward, vacation comes around and we all go to Hawaii. We had the best time ever. And then we several and I barely hear from her, but I was putting in all the effort, texting her every day, and her responses were dry as fuck. And then she had this boyfriend named Brandon, which I guess that could have been the reason why she wasn't targeting me as much. Because you know, you get into a relationship and all of your focus goes towards that, especially at this age. But the only reason why she started dating him was because he was popular. So they break up and she stopped talking to me altogether. She even blocked me on Instagram. So I asked her what happened and she said that I was a controlling bitch and she didn't want to be friends with me, which doesn't even make any sense because I'd never been controlling to her. And then she started texting me like everything was okay, and this went on for a little bit. But after a few months, I just stopped talking to her, but I definitely felt used. Story time about how one of my best friends started blackmailing me. So a little background information, I was 16 years old and a junior in high school. There are parents and friends with this other married couple who has a son that is around my age. He's 17, about to be 18, and what do they call him, Derek? Well, him and I somehow ended up getting into the same friend group, and he got my number, and him and I started texting a lot. So fast forward, my birthday comes around, and I end up having a party. And some of my cousins were around my age as well, so they were there, and my whole friend group was there, including Derek, of course. Well, surprise, surprise, there were booze and marijuana there, so I ended up getting kinda messed up. And then, as you could guess, Derek and I did the nasty. And surprise again, he had took some pictures and videos of me drinking and stuff. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he sent me a message that literally said for me to send him nude pictures and do stuff for him physically, or else he was gonna send these pictures to my parents. So like I said, he took some pictures and videos of me doing some stuff for my party, and then all of a sudden, I get a message out of nowhere saying that I need to send him nude photos and do stuff for him physically, or else he was gonna send these pictures to my parents, and the whole school literally blackmailed me. Now, of course, I didn't want my parents to find any of this crap out, so it became a regular thing between him and I, where I would send him pictures and then do stuff for him, and this went on for a while. Fast forward, thankfully, I'm about to graduate, and he doesn't blackmail me anymore since both of us don't want a serious relationship. I don't really know how that makes sense, but yeah. Story time about how my fiance cheated on me with 10 other girls. So a little background information, I met this guy on Instagram, and we're gonna call him Blaze. Now, when him and I met, he was stationed in Korea, and he refused to ask me to be his girlfriend until he came home. So I waited an entire year for him to ask me to be his girlfriend. Which little t-shirt of a red flag, but he made it seem romantic in some twisted, weird way. So fast forward, he comes home in February, and he kept to his promise. The first day that we met, he asked me to be his girlfriend. So I say yes, fast forward. Him and I started having a ton of arguments because of things that he was doing while he was in Korea. Fast forward, we're officially together for 9 months. So fast forward, of course, he gets deployed to Europe in like September of 2022. So this man decides that he's gonna propose to me in July and then beg me to get married to him before he leaves. Now, I may have ignored the first red flags, but I'm not dumb. Tell us that this man begs me to get married to him before he leaves, and thank goodness I didn't because divorce papers would have been served the same day. So fast forward, he starts acting super weird. He's going out 24/7, he's getting drunk, he's not wearing the ring that he begged me to get him. Yes, he literally begged me for a ring so that way women would know that he had a girlfriend. Well then, of course, I go DM from a girl on Instagram asking if him and I were still together. And then after talking to her, I realized he literally made a Tinder 2 days after he got deployed. And what was his excuse? Oh, I wanted to meet friends to teach me German. And listen, I was not born last night, so I kept that conversation going because I wanted to get to the bottom of what the fuck was actually going on. And then of course he finally comes clean that he cheated on me with a bunch of girls, but and you want to know the icing on the cake? One of them was a minor. Yup. After I leave him, he has the audacity to ask for my ring that, but I pretended to tell the sergeant and then I sold it for double what it was worth. Story time about how my boyfriend was seeing me and some other girl at the same time. So a little background information, I was 16 years old and a junior in high school, and wanted to call my boyfriend Tyler. So Tyler and I met back in middle school, but we were like barely even friends. Well, fast forward to my junior year in high school, he reached out to me and eventually him and I were talking every single day. Fast forward 3 months, him and I were definitely more than a friendship because we would do everything that couples would do just without the label. Well, the one day him and I are hanging out and we're taking pictures on his Snapchat and sending them to his friends. And then I feed that his number one best friend is this girl named Bailey. Now, the reason why I wasn't on his best friends list was because I didn't have Snapchat. But the only reason why this is a problem is because him and his friends Snapchat each other all day. And I'm talking like spam the fuck out of each other. So for her to be at the top of his best friend list, they have to be Snapchatting a lot. So I have asked her if it was this one girl that we both knew. Like I said, he's clearly been Snapchatting this girl a lot. So then I asked her if it's this Bailey girl that we actually knew, and he was like, no, this is Bailey Moore. That other Bailey is disgusting. Like, as a, what the fuck is so special about this one? Just kidding, not really. Shigam Suplan and I cannot get this girl out of my head because he didn't even try to explain who she was or why she had any significance in his life at all. So fast forward to spring break. He told me that whenever we got back from vacation, he wanted me to meet his parents, but I was so happy about because our relationship is finally progressing. And then I remember that he's supposed to give me his hen Tom's prom with some other girl, of course. So I decided to look up this Bailey girl just to see where she's from, and what do you know, she's from his hometown. So fast forward, I ended up getting in trouble for going out and didn't drag it, and my parents slipped by blown away, and then we went through it. And they found out that Tyler and I were doing the nasty, so they guarded me. And they were like, using tell Tyler that he can text or call us if he wants to talk to you. I didn't get any text the whole entire time that I was grounded. So fast forward a whole week, I finally text him like for part 3. Story time about my experience was Klarna. So a little background information, I was 17 in the 11th grade, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a mean person. Well, not kind of, I just was mean. Like, I've had joy out of annoying and making fun of people. Yeah, I know there was something probably wrong with me, leave me alone. Anyway, so I would low-key always bully my cousin, and when she would get upset about it, I would make it seem as if it was a joke. Well, I guess the one day she had enough of me, because there was this boy that I really liked, and we didn't know each other at all, like we had never spoken one word to each other, and my cousin knew that I liked this boy, so she decided that she was going to email him asking him out. And this is one of those situations where she tried to steal the guy that I liked. Nope, instead she went on my email and emailed him acting like me. Sis must have been determined to get her look back because I don't even know how she knew the password to my email. So the next day at school, him and I are in citizenship, and we're all on our laptops for this lesson. Well, all of a sudden, I heard him whisper my name to the popular girl that sits next to him. Like I said, I heard him whisper my name to the popular girl that sits next to him, and she have never liked me. I never bullied her. I know I said I was a mean person, but I didn't bully her. She just hated me. So of course, she thinks it would be funny to deprive me from the balloon toss, and she's like, why would you email him asking him out? Not only was I embarrassed, but I was shocked because I was like, what are you talking about? Honestly, I thought that they were lying, so I was like, whatever, I'll check when I get home. Well, when I went home after you checked my email, what do you know? There it is. An email sent from my laptop saying, hey, I really like you. Do what adorables me? I forget how, but I found out that it was my cousin. I didn't do anything to her because the damage is already done at that point. Very good bullying showed after the rift for that leak. And I don't even know why everybody was being so extra about it. It's not like this kid have a girlfriend or anything. But people were whispering rude things to me in class, and the one day that we was in the locker room, a popular girl starts yelling that I have blood on my pants. Like, she screamed it so loud, everybody heard it. And I tried asking my cousin if there was anything, she was ignoring me. So now on top of the whole email situation, I was dealing with that. Obviously, eventually everything died down. But I definitely learned my lesson, and I'm no longer a bully. Story time about how I unintentionally almost drowned my sister. So a little background information, I was 8 years old and my sister was 5. And during the summer, my sister and I never really got to go swimming because pool memberships were really expensive and my family did not want to take us to a public pool. So every summer we would go to my grandpa's house so that way we could go swimming, but he lived like 2 hours away, so we would only go there once a summer. And since we only got to go swimming this one time, we would usually be in the pool 24/7. So fast forward, we're all at my grandpa's house, and I finished my dinner first, so I went outside and I put my sister's floaties on because I'm pretty sure that mine actually popped. A quick thing, we were allowed to go into the pool without floaties on if we stayed in the shallow end of the pool because we couldn't swim for shit. Anyway, so I put her floaties on and I go to the deep end, and she comes outside like a bat out of hell, and she starts screaming and crying. And being the big sister I am, I'm just swimming around, ignoring her, enjoying my time in the pool. Like I said, I have her floaties on, I'm in the deep end of the pool, she's screaming at me, telling me to take them off, I'm ignoring her. And then what does her crazy ass decide to do? She decides to get into the pool and try and get them from me. Now, my sister was super tiny. And even being in the shallow end of the pool, she really couldn't stick her head above the water. I'm pretty sure that all swimming pools are like this, but there's a slope that goes into the deep end and it's super slippery. So she comes over to try and get the floaties from me, and then she slips. It was literally like a cartoon where the cartoon characters are moving their feet backwards really fast. And I thought that she was just joking around, so I'm just sitting there staring at her until she actually starts choking, and then my dad hurries up and runs outside, thank God. I feel like dads just have superpowers to know whenever their kids are in trouble. Anyway, so he jumps into the pool and he saves her. He ends up spraining his ankle, and I wasn't allowed in the pool for the rest of the weekend. Now, of course, this had me pretty pissed off, but now that I'm an adult, I can see why. Story time. My boyfriend cheated on me with the girl best friend. So a little background information, I was 17 and a junior in high school, and my boyfriend and I had been dating for a year. But just a little backstory about when we got together. So there were definitely some red flags that I missed, okay? One of them being that he had a girl best friend. And I don't care what y'all have to say if that makes me insecure or what, but coming from someone who has been the girl best friend, I knew this was not good at all. Especially whenever we first started dating and she was still being super friendly with him, meaning she would hold his hand, she would hang on him 24/7. And when I told him I was super uncomfortable with that and I felt like there needed to be some boundaries, he was like, yeah, I told you what it was whenever we got together. So if you don't like that, then just break up with me. Looking back on it now, that was also a red flag, because I feel like he was telling me to break up with him so that way he didn't have to break up with me. So like I said, she would still hang all over him, and he pretty much told me, if you don't like that, then you can leave. Obviously, I did not want to leave because I liked him and he was my boyfriend. So I just kept putting up with it, and eventually, we got 6 months into our relationship. So at that point, I'm thinking maybe I have a little bit more authority, to be like, hey, I don't like the way that she acts around you. You guys can't hang out like that anymore. And they would hang out alone together. He would take her to dinner. I literally tried telling him that the stuff that they do together is relationship stuff. And he was like, that's not true at all, because we did all this stuff before you and I even got together. So anyways, like I said, 6 months in, I'm like, hey, I don't like the way that you guys are hanging around each other. Once again, he gives me the same excuse. So he pretty much said that he didn't care. And the one night him and I were supposed to hang out, but he canceled on me last minute. And her and I didn't get along, and she never Snapchatted me before, but then I get a Snapchat of her and him making out at his house.
Story time about how this boy stabbed me with a pencil in kindergarten. So a little background information, I was 6 years old again in kindergarten, obviously. I'm not gonna lie, this story kind of shows that it doesn't matter how old a child is, they can literally still be very mean. And yeah, well, during the middle of the school year, there was this new kid who came to our class, and his name was Freddie. Now, Freddie coming in the middle of the year was kind of sad because everybody already had their friends. They didn't really want to talk to the new kid. And what made it even worse was the fact that he was a teacher's pet, and he was the teacher's favorite. So he was always picked to the board and be the wine leader, which made the kids hate him even more. For example, during lunch, Freddie would go and try to sit with some of the kids, and they would call a teacher over, say that she was doing something that was annoying them or really gross. The teachers would remove him and put him in a table alone by himself. And I was one of the kids that didn't really make fun of him. I just kind of sat back and laughed, which I know is terrible. But like I said, everybody would pretty much bully him, and I was one of the kids that just sat back and laughed, didn't say anything to him directly. Eventually, we were getting in trouble for discluding him. We would all have to stay inside during recess with our heads down on the desk in the dark. So then everybody acted like they were going to include him. Like the one time they were like, okay, we're playing hide and seek, you go hide, and then they never went to find him. So then this kid actually started getting violent. My guess is because the teachers and principal were not doing anything about it, and everybody was walking, you would purposely trip kids. This one time, this girl bought in parcels for the whole class, and she didn't give him one. He felt sick the one day, and all the kids went out to recess, and he went around and broke every single pencil. And I came in and I found it, so I told the teacher. And then during nap time, he put his mat on me, and when I finally fall asleep, he literally comes over and stabs me in the back of the neck with a pencil. Story kind of about why I hate Valentine's Day. So a little background information, I was 22 years old and I had been dating this guy for almost a year. And we're gonna call him Jimmy. Most of Jimmy and I's relationship have been long distance because literally after 2 months of us dating, he was offered a job in a different state. And I never worried about him cheating on me or anything like that because he seemed like a really honest and genuine guy. But of course I was wrong because he probably couldn't do anything for Valentine's Day because he had to work. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, well, I'm just gonna fly to him, so we can spend Valentine's Day together. And it'll be a nice surprise. So a few days before Valentine's Day, I get my plane ticket, and I wanted to do something special, so I wore some nice lingerie under a trench coat. Well, fast forward, Medfang lands, and I get an Uber to his apartment. And when I knock on his door, I hear a woman's voice from inside say, "Don't worry, I'll do the door." So like I said, I Uber to his apartment and I knock on the door and I hear some woman from inside say, "Don't worry, babe, I'll get it." So I hurry up and try to tie my coat because I'd untied it thinking that my boyfriend was gonna open the door. But no, why would my boyfriend open his own door to his own apartment that he lives alone in? So she opens the door and she's like, "Hi, what can I help you with?" And I'm like, "Oh, is this apartment blah blah blah?" And she's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, well, is Jimmy here?" And she was like, "Yeah." So she calls Jimmy over to the door. I look directly at him and I'm like, "Oh, is this like your friend or something?" And she's like, "Excuse me, I'm his fiance." So I'm looking at him all confused and I start screaming that he's a liar, a cheater, but babe, go call the police. I have no idea who this woman is. She sounds crazy. Whose fiance walks away. He goes, "I'm sorry, I'll call you later." And then security escorts me off the property. Needless to say, I never talked to him ever again. Storytime about why my sister is probably worse than yours. So let I find information. My sister and I were both 16 and in our sophomore year of high school. And yes, my sister and I were twins, but we were the complete opposite. She was the girly girl and I was a tomboy. But the summer before our sophomore year, we both got grounded because we were driving my dad's car without our license and we wrecked it. So we ended up spending all summer together, which was very unusual because it was like her and I were acquaintances living in the same house. Well, over that summer we got super close and she ended up turning me into a girly girl. She taught me how to take care of my skin, do my hair, do my makeup, and how to dress. Now mind you, once we got into high school, she never spoke to me because that wasn't a part of the little clique that she was in. So she was like, "Yeah, you can finally hang out with my friends," and I am super excited. So school starts, I end up becoming friends with all of her friends, and my sister's really good friends with this one boy. But she had only said that she never liked him like that. So she introduced us, him and I started talking, and we both ended up liking each other. So like I said, my sister and I start school, I become friends with her friends, and she introduces me to this guy that she's been best friends with for a while. Him and I end up talking, I really like him, he really likes me, and my sister would always hype me up to be like, "Oh my god, he should get with him, he's such a nice guy, and you guys will look so great together." So the one day he asked me if I wanted to go on a date with him, and of course I said yes, so I ran to my sister's room, I was so excited to tell her. So I knock on her door, I go in and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, guess what?" She's like, "What?" I'm like, "He asked me out on a date," and she just sits there and stares at me. And when I asked her what's wrong, she's like, "Oh my god, you knew that I liked him. You're such a bad sister. I would have never done this to you." So then I started to feel bad, but then I didn't because I remembered how she used to hype me up. So the next day, a few hours before my date, she comes in my room. She's like, "Hey, I'm really sorry about how I acted yesterday. I would love to help you get ready for your date if you'll let me. I feel so bad." And we're sisters, so of course I get over it and I tell her yes, I want her to help me. Life for part 3. Storytell about how my sister sold my nudes. Yes, my own sister. So a little background information, I was in 12th grade and I was pretty popular, and my sister on the other hand, she was in 9th grade. Not even saying this to boost my ego, but she was jealous of me and everybody could tell. Mainly because of the fact that she didn't have her high school glow up, she low-key still looked like a 6th grader. And there were very few guys who gave her attention, and some of the guys would even tell her that I was hotter than her. But that did not help the situation at all. For a week, I even paid attention to any of these guys because I had a boyfriend. And my sister and I still shared a room even though our brothers got their own rooms. So she could literally go through my shit anytime she wanted. Well, since we shared a room and I never thought that she would sell my nudes, Prince, I would take these exposing pictures of myself while she was in the room. Well, she had this one friend named Jessica who also was weirdly obsessed with me. I think she was saying how funny it would be to sell someone's nudes. So like I said, my sister had this friend, and the one day they were talking about how funny it would be to sell somebody's pics. We all laughed, joked about it, the conversation was over and done with. I thought that was it. Like, in all honesty, I thought it was one of those things where you designate plans to do something and then after the conversation you never cap about it again and you never actually do what you said you were gonna do because it was so out of pocket. So my sister's friend slept over that night and I lit up, went to school earlier because I have volunteer work to do, so my sister usually just takes the bus. Well, I accidentally left my computer at school, so I called my sister, asked her if she could grab it and bring it in the school. Now, my computer is connected to my phone. Well, your they decided to be little creeps and they went on my computer and they found my pictures and they sent them to themselves. And since my phone and computer are hooked up, I was able to see that they sent the pictures to themselves. So I start blowing up her phone, but by first period, I had a bunch of people telling me that they were about to buy my pictures. My sister literally made an ad and put it on Snapchat. My boyfriend broke up with me and I never talked to her.